It's really important to understand the fact that educating your lawmakers, educating your policymakers, I think to your point about being risk averse, some of these regulators just don't know the breadth of use cases that are out there. We consistently hear, you need to come tell us about the use cases. And so one of the things we've spent a lot of time doing and thinking about and inviting all of you and any of you who are building in this space to come talk to policymakers. What's the impact of actually hearing real life stories or understanding the use cases more broadly, understanding that it can be used for title insurance or land management? What is the value to you as you try to think about these policies that not just hit in the financial services space but more broadly?
They're music distribution. But as we think about this, right, I think it's essential to understand as new technology comes online what the benefits are. And really what the broader industry is saying is going to be in the future, and why we need certain guardrails and why other guardrails would actually be preventative to the development. And so those of us that are truly in the policy-making space are trying to find ways to encourage domestic development of a whole host of new technologies, not only in the crypto and blockchain, but writ large. And what guardrails do you have to have in place to make sure that things don't go awry? So we could look at AI, right? So similar, broadly speaking, technological development, hard to understand unless you live and breathe in that space every day. But at the same time, there's going to be certain guardrails that are going to be applied. But what we don't want to do is lock ourselves into the current state. And that often happens when government gets involved. I mean, government is really good at putting a rule in place and then never going back and changing or adjusting that rule. I mean, getting a rule overturned in Washington, D.C. is one of the hardest things to do, because the moment something's created and the industry wraps around it, the business model is there to maintain the status quo. So keeping the government out is your best case scenario, because the status quo is then determined by the free market, not by a government regulation. And so it's going to be this broader play to keep guardrails in place so that we don't allow the administrative state to stifle innovation, but not putting guardrails in place that actually stifle innovation inherently themselves.